Hello, tea family. How are you today? I hope you all are having a wonderful Monday. I do want to start off by saying I am actually not live today, although it's coming out as a live stream. I am recording this because we have another thing that we have to do that came up, and we didn't want to miss out on another Monday with you. So watch this as if it's live. I will be responding to all the comments. So please, in the chat or comments, go ahead and tell me what you are drinking and say hello so I can say hello back when we get back. Now, I did want to do something really special today, which is the reason why we have 3 mugs out already. I'm not drinking 3 cups of tea all at the same time, although have I done that? Probably. I probably have. But I wanted to talk to you about a problem. So twice, maybe even more this year, I have found myself in a situation where I wanted to have tea, and I even wanted to have some green tea. And I didn't have a tea thermometer. I didn't have any tea equipment. I basically had the tea with me. So I'm recreating that and showing you another way that you can still enjoy green tea without burning it, because we know if you put green tea in boiling water, that burns and singes the tea and it doesn't taste anywhere near as good because it's very bitter. So welcome back. Welcome to the replay. Welcome to the recording during our live stream. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is grab your favorite cup or 3 if you ever want to try this trick. We are going to take this moment, and I wanted to say, like, a lot of people boil water, right? Boiling water is not necessarily the problem that we're dealing with today. This I just took off. This is literally boiling water. But I want to make some Emerald Garden, which is a really delightful blend of green teas. And if I put this in with this is not going to taste very good. So we don't want to do that. However, there is a little trick. Sorry, everybody. There's a little trick from a cafe in Tokyo that will allow us to go from boiling water to the perfect water to brew our green tea. So you don't need the fancy thermometer. You don't need the electric tea kettle like I have here. I deliberately put this one on boil. I didn't have either of those things earlier this year, but I did learn this trick, which I thought I would pass on to you. Okay, so how do we cool down the water without a thermometer? We're going to be doing some mathing here. So if math is not your thing, that's okay. I'm enough of a nerdy geek for everyone. But what we're going to do is use what's called a mug-to-mug cool down. There's a couple of traditional tea houses in Tokyo that have used this and passed on this knowledge. So thank you to them. But there's some physics behind it. I know, it's just like being in school, but it is back to school for a lot of people, so that works. The physics behind it is every time you pour boiling water into a cold room temperature, so not super cold, not refrigerated, but just a room temperature ceramic vessel. These have to be ceramic. The ceramic is actually going to absorb some of the heat, which drops the temperature of the water. And typically it's about 18 degrees. So let's do the math, and might as well do it live. Okay, we have boiling water at 212 degrees, which is why I'm going to be really careful when I throw it in here. Okay, I've just boiled it in, and you might not be able to see, but there's a lot of steam coming off. So we have 212 degrees. I want to say that one for last. I like my D&D mug. Okay, so if we take my husband, my handy dandy assistant, and I pour it, and you don't have to make it super fancy. Again, I'm boiling water. Don't want to splash myself. Now, this has dropped about 18 degrees because the ceramic is going to absorb it. That makes it roughly 194 degrees. This is a great temperature for an oolong or a pu'er, any of those kind of teas where you're trying to get into that, 190 degree. All right, now that took us there. So there's that. If I pour it into mug number 2, I am now roughly, if we take out another 18, doing math in my head, that's roughly about 176 degrees. Is this good enough to go ahead and make a delicate green tea? Yes, absolutely. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. However, if I poured this one more time into a third mug, it would drop down another 18 degrees. And that 18 degrees would bring you around 158. Somebody can check my math, but I'm pretty sure it's good. About 158 degrees. Now, what did I do? I did this a little different, but that is kind of a great temperature for white tea or some really delicate green teas. Some teas are more delicate. Now, what you also notice is that normally I pour the water over the green tea. I won't do that in this situation, and we don't want to do that in this situation because keep in mind, I'm pouring a hotter water over the tea leaves. They're not steeping in that cooler water. So this, if I pour it one more time, 158, but I'm right about 176, maybe even 175 a little bit because it sat 1 minute on the clock. I am watching over here for when my timer changes. And there, just by pouring the water, boiling water from mug to ceramic mug, I have now safely brought this water temperature down where I can do my 1 minute brew for my green tea. I'm going to go put that there. And there it is. There's my delightful green tea. Now, that is super simple. If you wanted to do the white tea, you're definitely going to want to pour it into another mug. But this will literally start to drop your temperature down really, really quickly. The only thing that I would say is make sure you pour enough water in to fill your cup. As you can see, this is pretty low, but that's because I didn't want to over pour in my bigger one. So this has come to the perfect temperature. I've steeped it for my 1 minute for first brew. Now, if this had been a Harmony or a Summer Kiss where it had freeze-dried fruit in it, I'd want to do 2 minutes at that lower temperature brewing. But green teas are, because they are so unprocessed, and white teas because they are virtually unprocessed, they're super sensitive to temperature. And that is why we want to make sure that we're bringing all the natural plant compounds, the polyphenols, the catechins, and not necessarily the wrong kind of tannic acid. We want to make sure that they're giving that tea that structure, but they're not being burned. And if the water's too hot, a lot of times these compounds will come out of the tea leaves too quickly. That's why you get so many tannins all at once, and you'll get that bitter taste, that over extracted flavor that's going to flood your cup, increase the bitterness, astringency, the acidity. Not fun. However, when green tea has been in a calming, lower temperature water that's appropriate for it, there's an amino acid L-theanine, which is going to be able to come out because you get that lower temperature and that brewing. And that is what gives the tea the natural savory sweetness that you can experience with green and white teas. It extracts beautifully in the lower, cooler temperature of the water. So you want to bring it down to that, 176. You can even go all the way down to 158 with a green tea if you want, but definitely if you're doing a white tea. And then that will really allow that L-theanine to flow through your teacup and do all sorts of great healthy things with you. So I'm going to take a sip now. I had to wait for it to cool a little longer for me to take a sip. So I want to hear from you all in the chat. Have you ever tried brewing green tea at a lower temperature? Maybe even at the 158 as opposed to that 175-ish. Have you brewed it super hot in boiling water, not realizing it. I know a lot of people, when they find out, they're like, oh, that's why I don't like green tea. They really do love green tea. It's just that it's been burnt because they brew the water too heavy. If these are the kinds of things that you like finding out about tea, then feel free to join us. Even if it's not quite as live as it normally is, this is what we do on these Mondays at 7 p.m. Central. I like to share little bits about tea, help you enjoy it, and get the best flavor out of your tea. I also love, I did get a comment from one of our tea family this week who was eating some, I think she said it was Thai food, and she had the summer kiss, which is green tea with freeze-dried peaches and red raspberry leaves. And so a nice delicate summer tea. And she said that when she put those two together, the peach just totally popped way more than it normally did. And to balance off that Thai food, I want to say it was Thai food. It was an Asian food that can sometimes be spicy. So I want to say it was Thai, but yeah. And she absolutely loved it and said, oh my goodness, it makes such a difference. And that's why I love to share those kinds of things. And when you share them with me, because sometimes bringing out the flavor of the tea even more than you realize, or the flavors of your food even more than you realized. So that's what I wanted to kind of chat with you about today. Now, if you've had questions as I've gone through this, do not be afraid to put them in the chat or the comments. I will be monitoring it. A couple things you notice. Yes, I do have my perfect cup teaspoon, but you could use a regular teaspoon. I didn't use any fancy mugs. I used my D&D mug, which I really enjoy. Could I rebrew? Yes. If you're coming from boiling water a second time, you just bring the water back to boiling and then you can go through the process. Keep in mind that you may need another mug. You might need a fourth mug. In this case, if you were trying to get it down to that 158, but if you're trying to get to the 176, you would need the 2 mugs and then the third one to pour into, because remember, this mug is no longer room temperature. This mug is warmer. So you just need to make sure you have enough. The cool thing about this is these only had water in them. They had that high quality, good water in them. So they don't even have to be washed. They can just literally go, we put our mugs in. Funny fact, not everybody puts their mugs in upside down in the cabinets. We put our glasses in mugs like this. I don't know if it's because I live someplace dusty or we lived in Texas where it could be dusty, but we've always put our mugs and cups in the cabinets with the opening at the bottom, so kind of nothing gets into it. But having been in different places over the year and staying with different people as our life kind of lifed around us, I noticed a lot of people put them in like this, which is fine. It was just really strange. In fact, one of my children at one of this, that was there in time for the funeral, she was even like, so are we supposed to put glasses and mugs open side up? That just seems wrong to me. And this is how you know that you have officially brought your children up in a way that they think the kitchen needs to be a certain way. But I said, I know, but that's how they do it here. And so that's how we did it. We put them open side up. But just keep in mind, you're going to need that extra ceramic mug because these have cooled back down to room temperature. Like I said, this one hasn't. So you wouldn't lose that same temperature in there. The other thing is all amazing water. Your water is also going to have a huge impact. Let me shut that off. Is going to have a huge impact on flavor as well. I know I've talked about that. You really want to be careful. Hard water can really add some flavor. We only use very filtered water. In fact, I'm super excited because we not only put a new water softener system in that doesn't require salt, which is healthier for Rich, who has health issues with anything with high sodium, and I have migraines from high sodium, so we had to go with the water purification system that did that. We've actually, instead of buying filtered water for events and things like that, we are now have a small, it's just small, but a reverse osmosis system for when we use tea water. I don't know if he's going to use it in his coffee. He probably will. and for our drinking water as well, because you want to get out all the stuff that's not supposed to be in there. Chlorine is really going to make your teas taste funky, different things like that. So you want to have that good quality water, and so that you can enjoy it. And now you know the sneaky little trick from Tokyo to get your green tea water from boiling very quickly, mind you, to a perfect temperature to go ahead and brew so that you can enjoy it. The great thing about this trick too is I know that a lot of times I've said, hey, you need to wait about 2 minutes. You pour it in the cup, you wait about 2 minutes, and it's about the right temperature. Well, sometimes if you're really, really busy, you might not have that 2 minutes. You might have used an electric kettle and accidentally put it on boil as opposed to green tea. That does happen to us. We also do the opposite where we want to have it boiling and it's only on green tea. So, life happens. But if you've accidentally boiled this and you're running out the door to work or an event or whatnot, and you're running late, here's a really easy fix, because it did not take long to bring it from that boiling temperature just with a couple of clean mugs that are ceramic and bring it down, brew it, put those away, and you're out the door. I think the whole thing maybe took a minute. So plus the brew time. So that is another way to get out of the house really quick and easy, even if you don't have a thermometer and you want some delicious green tea while you are on the go. All right, everybody, I hope this has been helpful for you. I had fun putting it together and thinking about it, and I thought this would be great since I can't be here live, and this one wouldn't have as many questions. But if you do have a question, or you have another question of a different sort, feel free to put it in the chat or the comments. Next week, I will be doing, I don't know. I think I'm talking about something. I'm talking about one of our teas. Oh, no, I think I'm talking about our Advent tins, which are going to be a little bit unique this year. We're going to have 3 different kinds. I don't mean 3 different kinds of tins. I mean something else. So if you want to find out what else I'll be talking about and how I mean we have 3 different kinds of Advent tins this year, and to find out what we'll be including in our Advent tins this year, because we do change up the flavors in them every year. We will see you next Monday at 7 p.m. Central Time, and I look forward to seeing you then. All right, have a good one, everybody.